So you graduated high school, right? And then
All right. So when I moved to Atlanta, I moved for the girl. I went after her. I wanted to be closer to her, and
was this a girl that you dated in high school?
yes, it's all the same girl.
Okay, then I know the girl.
It's all the same girl.
All right. Yeah, Kyle has
Had a long.
has had a long off on our relationship with this one girl in particular that
When I want something, I do whatever it takes.
she owns his
It took me
heart.
10
It would
years.
seem. Yeah. All right.
I whittled her down.
Now, why was she in Atlanta? Because she went to your high school.
Yeah. So we graduate high school. She moves to Atlanta because she first moves to Athens, stays there for a year, then to Atlanta. She didn't like our small town, our small county, our small section of the state. It's not much to do here.
She wanted to be in the big
She-
city, so she moved to Atlanta.
Yeah, she wanted all the things that come along with that. So she moves to Atlanta. I follow along as a very much sort of in a weird quasi friend zone type place. I get my job there selling cars, and I'm working with and I make some friends at the dealership.
Wow, so you moved to Atlanta on the hope that you'll escalate to girlfriend, boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
It's a real gamble.
I don't care. It's whatever.
Wait, were you shaking
Those were
dice?
That's double. That's double. Those are dice and my cock, and just rolling it and coming. This is all of them in one.
Okay. So you moved to
Take it
Atlanta
out.
to follow the girl on the hopes that you can escalate your relationship to boyfriend-girlfriend.
Get my job selling cars. I'm doing well there, loving it, kicking it, having a great time. I get an apartment in an apartment complex right across the street from where she lives. Not the same complex.
Do you have roommates in this apartment?
No, by myself.
Oh, no.
By myself. So I get this apartment all by myself out there, and I'm living right across from the street from her complex. We're separated and everything.
Are you 18?
19.
Okay.
19. So the first thing that happens, it's my birthday. We're gonna go out to dinner, and my apartment floods. I had my shirt hung up on the sprinkler, ironing, twist it, sprinkler explodes. Whole apartment's destroyed. All my belongings destroyed. They put it on my credit report. Didn't let me off the hook for like 8 years. They put a hawk report on me or something like that for damaging the apartment. It was a whole thing.
So people know the fire sprinklers thing, that sometimes they have like a little red piece of glass that almost looks like a Christmas light. If you break that, horrible things happen.
Game over, bro. Thousands of gallons in this apartment. Ruined the apartment. So now I got nowhere to fucking live, right? Like, of course, she's not going to let me go live with her. That's not even remotely in the cards. So I asked my roommate, I asked my coworker, who's 24 at the time. I was 19 at the time. I'm like, hey, can I crash with you on your couch for a while till I get things figured out? So I'm crashing on his couch for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And then, like, our quasi-friendship, boyfriend-girlfriend thing, whatever it was, meets its end. She breaks up with me, tells me this thing isn't going to work, whatever. Like, it's just not going to happen. Then I go into suicide mode. That's when I almost killed myself, outside her apartment that night. I've told that story a bunch of times. Don't kill myself. Instead, limp my...
Spoiler.
I was hanging on every word.
I go to work, and I'm just sitting there. My manager's like, what's wrong? He sits on the golf cart with me. He's like, what's wrong, brother? I just go, start crying or whatever. And he's just like, go home, man. Come back when you're good. Come back when you're good. So, like, I go back to, my friend's apartment, and I literally sit there and eat peanut butter sandwiches and milk for, like, 10 days until I'm, like, able to, like, collect myself together again. Watched all of Band of Brothers, every DVD that man owned. Really beefed up my film knowledge during that sad time. And so I'm just like, well, what am I going to do? Like, 10 days ago, I was ready to kill myself because, like, what's the point now? Everything's been about getting this girl. We've moved here. We've done whatever it took. We financial hardships, whatever. My parents hated this whole thing with me moving out there. Fuck you, I'm going the whole nine. Like, they've cut me off financially. I'm making my own money now. I'm doing well, and I had some savings, but I'm cut off. And it's just, it's rough. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go in my life, what my next step was. And I was just like, well, I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to turn around and go home. I'm gonna be a winner when I go home. So I got to put my head back down to the grindstone, get back on this thing, and make some more fucking money. And so that's what I did. So I just went back to work, and I worked for another 9 months until I felt like I was going home a winter, and I did it that way.
Or did you stay
But
at this apartment?
I stayed with them the whole time, crashing on the couch, fucking 9.5 months, and
Did
they
you pay
didn't
rent?
care. No, I didn't
Oh,
pay.
you piece of shit.
I pitched in a little with the rent sometimes. I may have left them in a tough spot when I left, but I did the best I could. And I always paid my part of the rent in any case. But when I left, I'm gone, and I'm not there to pay the rent anymore. So whatever. But I paid rent, and I paid for my share of the food and all that stuff. But I'd occasionally eat all their fucking food. But in any case, there were these two Lithuanian motherfuckers, and it was crazy living with them because they had their all. I had never met Europeans before.
How did you go from living there, working at the car dealership, then you moved back home, right?
Yeah.
So what was the catalyst for that?
I was just done. Like I didn't want to.
You weren't happy.
There was nowhere to go from there. Like I had already been promoted. I had already gotten as far. I was making plenty of money. I was doing everything I wanted to do out there, but I just didn't enjoy being out there. The whole point of being out there was the girls. So the more I did, the better I did at my job. And the more that people respected me at my job, the more every compliment I got was bittersweet because it was like, why doesn't she see this about me? Why doesn't she care about this? Everybody around me is kissing my ass and telling me that I'm the best at this and the best at that. Oh my God, how did you do this? She doesn't care. And it was just really bittersweet. And I didn't like it. And I just wanted to get out of anything that reminded me of her.
I'll tell you, I've met her a couple of times and she just seems like a normal person to me.
She's great.
She's just a regular person, I swear to you.
I mean, I've known her longer than you have.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and I dated her for another 2 years. I came back, got her back 4 years ago, dated her for 2 years. 3 years ago, dated her for 2 years, and she broke up with me last year. And then and Woody was like, "What's wrong?" I went, "She broke up with me."
Is that the one that hit you really hard?
Yeah. And, I cried for 8 months or something like that. Yeah.
Whoa.
What are you gonna do?
That's cry for 8 months,
Yeah, you cry for 8 months. I don't cry anymore. Not in public or anything like I used to. I get back home, get the cry blanket out, wrap it around my head, just sob.
As you do, yeah.
What else?
It's a
Weeping
combo
to the pizza guy.
sand protection turban thing.
No, that really is a sad. That's not even a happy story. There's no happy ending to that
No,
one.
that's
That's just
sad.
kind of a sad chapter in my life where I feel like I wasn't good enough to be the me that I should have been, and I missed out on somebody who was really great.
Were you going places and they were reminding you of her? You go into Fridays and be weeping. Oh, we used to get Anytizers.
Oh my God, 1,000 things like that. 1,000 things like that. Woody asked one time. I was telling Woody, I was like, we watched Game of Thrones together. He's like, has this bitch ruined Game of Thrones for you? That'll be the last straw. And I'm just like, nah, I mean, Jon Snow's pretty sweet,
It's funny because I'm Team Kyle on this thing, right? Whatever that is.
I would hope so.
Right. Well, it's a tricky thing to be sometimes because it's it'd be easy if Team Kyle was, you know what? Fuck her with a knife, a rusty one, jagged, screw that girl, I hate her. But that's not how he feels, right? Team Kyle is, it's actually, I don't know, I'm not great at this. Yeah. And I will,
It's so much worse than an angry breakup is a breakup where you're longing for it and thinking of all the possible ways you could have saved it. It'd be so much easier just to be
I did my
bitch,
best to hold
hate
it together at the end too, and just to no avail.
How long did you know that it was tumbling down? Was there quite a bit of play up?
No. Well, I mean, I knew it wasn't going that well. There had been a couple of stumbling blocks, but I thought things were pretty cohesive. And then there was a week period where I did a couple stupid things. And then instead of going to fix it, I did some more stupid things.
I feel like you're telling it wrong, and I don't want to give it anything away, so I'll allow you to. But I don't think it's what you did. I think it's what you didn't do. Someone might hear you did stupid things and think that you were unfaithful or that. Those kind of stupid things.
Well, she had seen where I'd been communicating with this other girl through email. Shouldn't have been doing that, but it's the chick had been contacting me, and her butt was just so big, just so big.
What are you gonna do?
You're not going to not talk to her.
Honestly, just correspondence. It was just kind of well, what do you like to do? And I'm just like, what can I do to that big butt of yours? And it's just that kind of talk, And she saw that on my computer and my email, and that really took things down a rough course.
You didn't tell me about that. Can I say what you did tell me? I don't want to ruin anything away. I don't.
Probably.
I'm going to, because I don't think it's awful.
Okay.
She wanted more attention, and Kyle didn't give her the attention she wanted.
Sure, that was part of it. Yeah. And by attention, it was just like we talk about the languages of love. And I feel like we were also hitting on different ones. Like, to me, a big one is like, like gifts and things that I might provide for you, and places I might take you, and things I might pay for. Like that's kind of how I show my love in a lot of ways. And I feel like she needed more. I don't know, more of one of the other ones. Not necessarily physical touch.
Like words of affirmation is one. Quality time is one.
I don't know. I don't want to dissect my pitiful relationship from last year. I've got a new girlfriend who's just absolutely gorgeous, best looking girl I've dated in quite a while, and I like her a lot, and that's where things are now. But yeah, I still feel bad about that whole thing. That was a real rough time. Both times that. Every time, like, that girl has been responsible for like all of my biggest lows in my whole life. I think like at least
is she responsible for a lot of your highest highs?
Yeah, that too. Like some of my fondest memories are like trips I went on with her, and like going to Six Flags with her when we were teenagers, and just like making out on her couch or something. And
I feel like your current girlfriend is a better fit. Now, no girl's perfect, but like, and I'm cautious about all the things I say, but for example, the love of your ex, that's what I should call her. She didn't like hunting. She didn't like, I don't think she was particularly into guns. She didn't like some of the things.
She liked guns.
She liked guns.
It was,
okay.
She was a vegetarian, and she didn't like aspects of. She didn't like when I used the pig as the target and stuff like that. That sort of thing. None of that stuff bothered me. Like I was fine.
Those to me seem like some pretty core value system mismatches.
No, I agreed with her in a lot of ways, like on that stuff. I really do. Like, I feel bad for those animals, and I had no problem eating what she ate. She had to be on a diet for medical reasons for a while, and it was virtually a vegan diet. And I mean, there would be it sounds weird to describe. I can't remember what it's called, but there was grilled chicken involved. That we would like. That was what we had to cheat with at the end, because there was like nothing else for her to eat. There was like 8 things. It was like quinoa and like pepper. Like, really, that's it. That's the only. But it was really only like a handful of things. But I didn't mind eating her very restrictive diet. Like, she was a great cook, and we'd cook. I don't want to get into this whole thing, but that was the same girl that I had the almost suicide with before. Hey, this time around, I didn't think about killing myself, so there's that. Hey,
that's great.
By the third breakup, I won't even feel it.
Funny.
Right?
He told me, he specifically said, like, I'm not suicidal. And in my head, I'm like, how'd that get on the table?
Yeah.
Why?
Because last time, I was like, well, let's just do this down here. And then I was like, but she'll find me. Or at least, the ambulance will be down here, and she'll ask her neighbor, what's this ambulance doing down here? And they'll say, some guy shot himself in the parking deck last night. He's over there in that black Acura TL. And then I ruined her life. And I was like, well, I'll just suffer through my life so that hers will be a little easier. And that was literally what I did for a long time.
And it's like admitting defeat to do that right then.
I would have been happy to. I was defeated. I'd have been happy with defeat. I honestly kept living to make her life easier there for a long time.
And think of the life that you would have skipped. There's been some cool shit.
You don't know. If I'd killed myself, maybe I'd have been the
vacuum.
emperor of like Neptune or something. We don't know what kind of reincarnations out there. I could have done some real cool shit.
I
Like blowing up houses.
You've got a 20-sided D&D die, and you roll it, and you got like a 19 or 20, and you're like, probably the next one would be even higher.
Yeah.
No way.
Just keep
Because
fucking
you've got all
rolling.
your charisma modifiers that couldn't get any higher.
Well, thank you, Taylor.
Yeah.
Wow, that means so
You know
much
what?
coming from you.
I'm glad. I don't want you to kill yourself.
You've got nice charisma modifiers too.
Oh, you.
But yeah, sad talk.
I'm the gay one here, guys. Me.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was encroaching. I'll lower my percent back down to its normal levels. That was. I like that little peek into your life, Kyle. I didn't know really hardly any. You've mentioned that stuff to me like briefly before, but never much. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So then you moved back home because just nothing was. I guess you felt like you got your achievement.
As I was moving, I didn't want to be out there anymore. And then like as I moved, I hurt my back, and I was literally on the couch for like 4 weeks. Got real fat, and then just got real depressed and didn't want to do anything. Didn't want to work at the dealership. Didn't want to sell cars. Didn't want any part of that. And ended up just working with my dad for a long time. Just really enjoyed. I felt like Rambo whenever he's done killing in Vietnam and he's like out there with those monks. I really felt like I was doing that for a while, just working with my dad like out in the field and just trying to like get my head straight after that whole thing with the girl. And you know, eventually that kind of leads into playing way too many video games to deal with the pain, and getting real good at those video games.
COD 4.
Top 4 what?
I said COD 4.
COD 4.
Oh yeah, COD, yeah. And then, you know, getting deciding that professional poker might be an option for me, and I did pretty well at that. And I bought my first gaming console with my professional poker winnings, and kind of started playing more. So there was a time when I would play poker like all night and play video games all day, and like do like zero work. And so yeah, like that. It all comes full circle. You know, if I don't go through the depressing, awful time with her, almost killing myself and all, then I don't end up swinging from helicopters and blowing up houses and flying drones and being Call of Duty commercials and fucking like half of Twitter or whatever I did. So you know, you gotta hurt to feel good. There's got to be some lows so you appreciate the highs. So I'm happy with the way things have gone so far. At least I